Snow White. Once upon a time, there was a princess named Snow White. She was kind, gentle, and beautiful. Her skin was as white as snow. Her hair was as black as ebony. Her lips were as red as roses. Snow White's stepmother was the queen. The queen was very jealous of Snow White. She wanted to be the fairest in the land. Every day, the queen asked her magic mirror, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all?" The mirror always said, "You are the fairest, dear queen." But one day, the mirror said, "Snow White is the fairest." The queen became very angry. She wanted to get rid of Snow White. The queen called a huntsman to the castle. She told him to take Snow White to the forest. The queen ordered the huntsman to kill Snow White. But the huntsman could not do it. He let Snow White go and told her to run away. Snow White ran deep into the forest. She was very scared and alone. She did not know where to go. Snow White walked for hours. She finally found a small cottage. The cottage belonged to 7 dwarfs. The dwarfs were kind and friendly. They let Snow White stay with them. Snow White cleaned the cottage every day. She cooked meals for the dwarfs. The dwarfs loved Snow White very much. They protected her from the queen. Meanwhile, the queen found out Snow White was alive. She became even angrier. The queen decided to kill Snow White herself. She disguised herself as an old woman. The queen made a poisonous apple. She went to the dwarf's cottage. The queen knocked on the door. Snow White opened the door. The old woman offered her the apple. Snow White did not know it was poisoned. She took a bite of the apple. As soon as she did, she fell to the ground. Snow White was in a deep sleep. The dwarfs found her lying on the floor. They were very sad and did not know what to do. They put Snow White in a glass coffin. They placed the coffin on a hill. Every day, the dwarfs watched over her. They hoped she would wake up someday. The animals of the forest also guarded her. Everyone loved Snow White. They did not want to lose her. A prince heard about Snow White. He came to see her in the forest. The prince saw Snow White in the glass coffin. He was struck by her beauty. The prince kissed Snow White on the lips. At that moment, the spell was broken. Snow White opened her eyes. She saw the prince and smiled. The dwarfs were overjoyed. The animals danced around them. Snow White thanked the prince. The prince asked Snow White to marry him. She said yes, and they were very happy. The prince and Snow White returned to his kingdom. The queen heard about Snow White's return. She was furious and frightened. The queen fled the kingdom in shame. Snow White and the prince lived happily together. They had a grand wedding. The dwarfs were the guests of honor. The kingdom celebrated with joy. Snow White ruled with kindness and grace. The queen was never seen again. The magic mirror was forgotten. Peace returned to the land. Snow White became a beloved queen. She always remembered the dwarfs. She visited them often in the forest. The dwarf's cottage was always warm and cozy. Snow White never forgot their kindness. She and the prince had many children. They all lived in happiness and love. Snow White's story was told for generations. And so, they lived happily ever after.